She's mouthy, she's fast, she's got game. Welcome to Fast-Paced Lace, where the mic is hot and the pace never quits. Right. From South Beach straights to carbon fiber clashes, Fast-Paced Lace is back in your ears, and we're hotter than a Miami track temp in July. I'm your host, Lacey, laced up, caffeinated, and emotionally invested in every overtake. Now, you already know when it's Formula One time, I don't ride solo. Back in the studio, snapping necks and taking hits harder than a Red Bull floor upgrade. It's the one and only Jaclyn. I'm so excited to have you. Welcome back. She's just not only my F1 bestie, she's a certified fireball with a WAG radar and a conspiracy board of mid-season rumors and a Miami tan that's screaming pit lane chic. Now, if you're new here, welcome. But if you've been rocking with us, you already know that Jaclyn's got a reserved seat on every F1 drop from here on out. So this is her lane, and you better believe she's flooring it. This week, we're diving helmet first into the chaos and class of the 2025 Miami Grand Prix and the sprint weekend. McLaren fans, buckle up. This one's for you. Okay, Jaclyn, let's talk about sprint race recap. Okay, we know that weather obviously was like a huge play in this.
The best.
Torrential rain.
I love it.
I mean, it was absolutely amazing. I don't know if I really believed you. Yeah, you were right. Like, you were like, rain races are the best. And this
I would
just
like
proved
for them
to be...
just bring rain to every, like, even if it's like fake Hollywood rain. I would love it.
I agree. They should like
So
pre-mix the track, just have sprayers out there, guys.
And throw them all out there because it's so
I
crazy.
agree. I loved it.
It
was crazy.
Better.
Now, let's talk a little bit about what that rain did. Your man, your boy, Charles Leclerc, had a crash on the grid. On the way to the grid.
Honestly, I'm going to blame the FIA on this one because clearly no one should have been out yet. And for that to happen and then delay the start is so frustrating.
I don't know why we didn't have a 15-minute postponement. Yeah, why didn't we just postpone for 15 minutes and then let the rain clear, and then Charles probably could have had a great race. I mean,
100% he would have.
It was rough. It was really rough. It was, but the sprint race itself was, to me, it was weird. It was different. It was a different dynamic, but I felt like it was a great place for Miami. Like, I feel like having like 3 practices at a Miami type event would have been just not right. I feel like they really did good at picking a sprint weekend at Miami.
Yes.
Again, the weather was perfect. Wish it would have been like that for the real race. But we can just call the sprint weekend the real race if we want to.
Yeah. You
so
just don't get
right? We did have a Ferrari on the podium in the sprint race. That was nice to see Lewis up there. He did get up there. Let's talk about that. Let's just talk about how he even made it up there.
I feel like what Lewis and Charles are bringing out of the car is phenomenal because we know it's not a good car. It's just...
Exactly.
The fact that either of them can get on a podium at this point is a miracle.
And even making it into the top 10 at this point with that race car.
Because I honestly think that they're slower than the Williams. Like, it's just...
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would agree.
I don't know. I just feel like the performance of that car is so bad. And I think it just mainly speaks to, like, how talented Charles and Lewis are.
I agree. I really think that if somebody else was in that type of car, it would be like Jack doing. You know what I mean? Like, just chaos.
If you put any rookie in that car, they would be crashing every weekend. For sure. There's no way.
Yeah, I don't feel like the car is sustainable for somebody that doesn't have the experience that Lewis and Charles have. Also, I think that I know that we bounced. I don't want to bounce too far into the actual race, but we'll talk a little bit about Lewis's hot radio and his hot mic. Oh my gosh.
We'll get to it later.
But he, I felt like during the sprint race, he communicated way better with his engineer than he did during the regular race. So I don't know if the pressure felt less to him or if he's just used to it. I'm not sure, but it just felt like he was, or maybe he just felt like he was doing better.
I think there's a lot of luck on Lewis's side too, just with like the safety cars. Honestly, when the rain is into it, I feel like anyone could really try to pull it off. And Lewis is really good in the wet, and I think he does well in that situation. So I feel like he was more focused on that.
I agree.
But I don't know.
I agree. I mean, I thought that it was going to be like a real good positive change, like going into the race weekend, like like the actual race. I thought it was going to make them better. You know what I mean? They were going to have this fight. They were going to have like this oomph, and it was almost like I didn't see that transition from sprint to the Grand Prix.
No, the problem is qualifying. I think it starts with qualifying.
And McLaren's obviously dominated the sprint. We had Lando secure a wet victory. It kind of stunk because we had to finish under a safety car. You kind of like let me know this would happen and, you know, introduced me into it and said, you know, this is something that happens, and it definitely it happened.
I think that coming from football, part of me is like, oh, well, then we're just going into overtime, right? But that's not the case. We're just doing a certain amount of laps. And if it's going to end on a safety car, I've seen it end on a safety car. I mean, it's not common, but it does happen. And it's very frustrating and unfulfilling.
Growing up in the race, just in my race car industry, a yellow flag, everybody pauses where they are, clean up the mess, and then you move along, you know what I mean? Then you go back to green flag racing. So it's interesting how they do a formation lap, how they do the lineup, how you can finish under a safety car and not have the ability to even pass. Like, I don't understand. It's so fascinating to me that that is actually part of the sport.
I remember the first race that happened to me, and I was like, what? It's ending? I'm so confused. I was like, no, this is so frustrating. I mean, but that does happen.
And with the wet conditions, there could have been so much that happened in those final 4 or 5 laps. They were so much tight. I mean, it really sucked because, you know, of course, it was the dynamic Fernando and Liam to take each other out, leading to the safety car.
Which is
but
great.
The fact that it ended on that, I was just like, man, I wanted to see some dicing and some moving. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a very unsatisfying ending.
I agree. I was happy that a Ferrari made it on the podium, but I was a little disappointed that it was on a safety car. Something that I'm not used to. So I guess I will be prepared for the future now for, you know, when Fernando and Liam decide that they want to play destruction in the back, essentially. Like they want to, let's race for 4.
Yeah, how about you do that in lap 10, sir? Don't do that.
When we're begging for the safety car, give us the safety car. Like, not when we don't want it.
Give it to us early, and I'll be happy about it. But at the end, it's just a bummer.
Yeah, no, I don't like it either.
So it was very exciting until then. But
it was a great race. It was great, and then all of a sudden, it was just like
it's fantastic.
On, and we're just going in circles. We're just following this car. Like, honestly, I think I would have wanted to be the safety car driver because he won.
Yeah, he did win.
He was the leader. So let's transition and talk about the race itself. I hate to say it, but it was kind of predictable. Do you know what I mean? Like, it was
you know, I was thinking back on it though, and it's like Max being on pole was cool. That's always fun to see.
Yeah.
But I was thinking about the way that Lando races Max. I just don't think he has the right strategy for it.
It's not aggressive enough, like we talked about last time.
Actually, and I thought about this a lot, and I want to know your take. I think it's too aggressive. I think what he needs to do, because listen, we know how Max races, right?
Yeah.
But what we need to remember, and I feel like what hasn't settled in Lando's mind yet, that Red Bull's not fast, even in Max's terms. So what Oscar did was letting Max, and I don't know if this was his real strategy, but this is how I felt it went down. I think that Oscar let Max do Max and stayed behind and was like, I'm in a McLaren. I'm faster than you. This is a long race. Where Lando is trying to jump him at the start, and I don't think that's the right strategy because Max is always going to push it to the limit, and I only know like 3 other drivers that can do that on the grid.
This really, really, really plays into my conspiracy theory, okay?
Okay, I love it.
100%, you know my conspiracy theory, and I don't want to lay it out there too much.
I get it.
But I guess I'll just say it. I 100% think that the McLarens have figured out some sort of small piece that they can get around in the rule book and gain an advantage, and they have gained this advantage. Now, I don't think I think the FIA has caught on to it. I think everybody has caught on to it. Clearly, the McLarens were not fast, and now they have this booming vehicle that's just blaring through it, and it's not a change of the drivers. I mean, yes, you can gain experience, but I just don't think that amount of experience can be proven in that short of time. So, yes, I think that your theory 100% plays into the factor that I think that Oscar knows that the car has an advantage and Lando doesn't know that. And so that I do think that he's playing into his aggressive role too much. Could be true.
Yes.
He's trying too hard. But that still plays into my theory that he doesn't know that his car is fast enough, or he doesn't trust it. You know what I mean?
Watch his interviews. He still thinks that the McLaren's not the faster car. And I'm like, sir, that's not true. Like, that's just not accurate. Like, you guys are winning by a large margin at this point. Like, last year, it wasn't the case. Like, they were just starting to get better. And this year, I don't know if it's just like not sunk in for him, but you guys are way faster than anyone else on the grid. It's not even close.
And it's so noticeable now that it's obvious.
It's so obvious to the point where I'm like, why are you trying to jump Max at the start? Because it's just not necessary.
Right.
Like, last year it was necessary and they did have to battle it out because Max was going for the title and he did get the title. So I just feel like at this point, though, Lando's got to be a little bit smarter and just like let Max be Max. He's going to tire out. Like, his tires are not going to, like, whatever the McLaren's doing with their tires is just way different.
His car's not going to make it long enough.
It's not going to last.
It's not going to do the long game. That's thing.
Going to drive Max crazy. And like, look how far he dropped because of that. Like,
exactly.
Max is not used to it.
Max into a short game and doesn't even realize it. He needs to play Max's long game and let Max,
which is Oscar is doing, and look how that's working out for him.
Yes, exactly. I mean,
and I think that Lando's going to figure it out. I do think he's going to figure it out. It's just taking him a little bit too long. Like, let's go, sir. Let's get this going.
If my conspiracy theory that McLaren has figured out something, I believe that maybe small birdie might put something into Lando's ear to let him figure out after, summer break, say, hey, we've done this to the car. Because, Bull is talking about bringing an upgrade to the next race. So it's possible that they could maybe clue Lando into this conspiracy that I have. Anyway, it's just a conspiracy, but I do think that they have figured something out that gives him this small advantage because that car is stupid fast.
Crazy. It's crazy.
All Oscar has to do is get out front and he's done. That's all he has to do. It's clean air.
It's like, it really should be, though, when you're battling Oscar and Lando, and what Lando's got to figure out is if Lando out qualifies Oscar, you should be winning that race.
Hands down.
That's frustrating to watch him. I like Lando. I want him to do well.
Me too.
I just feel like he needs to really figure out this strategy part of his race.
I agree.
Because Oscar's really doing well. And I would love to see them pedal it out, though. I think it would be really fun to watch. So I hope that they get to that point where, because, Lando was killing it all weekend and doing really well in qualifying. So it was kind of just like a bummer to watch him slide back. I mean, P2 is not, it's not bad, but you want to be winning, and he should be winning the championship right now. And it's kind of crazy that Oscar is just sneaking on by.
I mean, he's not sneaking by. He is
you're right.
Championship lead by like massive amounts of points.
At this point, yes.
Yeah, right. I think Oscar right now leads the championship with 131 points, and Lando has 115, and Max is at 99. And we are just barely finishing race 5.
But just remember that, like, there's been times. What I do like about F1 is that can change very quickly because it differentiate, like, the points are so interesting because that could change very quickly. But it is, I agree. Like, even if there's just one race where Oscar doesn't finish and Lando gets P1, it's going to be fun. I would just like to watch that, and I'm trying to manifest that because otherwise the season's going to get boring. because that's what's happened with Red Bull dominance. It was just Max. Like nowhere, Checo was nowhere to even be found half the time.
Gosh, he was taking a nap.
I don't want to go back to that. I want to see Lando and Oscar battling it out just for the sake of everyone's entertainment value here, you know?
And at this point, it's obvious that they're going to be the top two, that they're going to win the Constructor Series. I mean, there's no car that can even compete with the two of them. I mean, Mercedes is close, but Max cannot sustain Red Bull by himself. And so to me, like you said, having them battle it out, having them both recognize, okay, it's going to be the two of us. Let's give them a show. You know what I mean? Let's put on a show. Let's make this be dynamic.
Like, I obviously think the Constructors we know who's winning the Constructors at this point, but we don't know about the Drivers' Championship, and that's very fun to watch. Like, that could change very quickly. That's not a big point differential, and it could happen. But, you know, like, we all know McLaren's going to win the Constructor, unless something crazy happens. Who knows? Can we talk about the Lego pre-race? Because I think that was
that was the win. That was the thrillingest event of my life. When they went to pan the camera over to Red Bull, okay, and Yuki said, "I'm baby Lily in the back. Just pretend I'm the baby in the back." And he's like, "Oh yeah, you're my baby. I am not kidding you. I was on the floor. Yuki, you're my baby."
Never seen all of them that happy at the same time. Like, they were just so happy. Like, watching the Ferrari boys love life.
And then at one point, did you see how they were scooting the car trying to get it so fast?
We're just like, we can get momentum.
Even Alex and Carlos in their Williams car, hysterical.
Carlos is like, this is the only way I win this year, and I'm going to make it.
And then Lando,
clearly,
his eyeballs would get so big every time he'd rub tires with somebody when they would zoom in on Lando's eyes. And they would get
George was an absolute menace. Excuse me. That is not
the road.
Crashing the Lego car? That's insane.
Oh my gosh. Speaking of George, he did complete the podium for Mercedes and got that third. I do want to just touch on a few other key moments because there was definitely some key moments that happened that changed the entire race. I mean, Max had pole, had the opportunity of a lifetime, locked it up in turn one, came out, finishes fourth behind George. And you know, Mad Max, you know they muted his radio instantly because of that. Like, we know that when Max's radio doesn't go off, it's because his fines are just going to be way too high. That was 100%. Insane. Like you said, now that I look back and I think about it, Max maxed himself. I mean, he overshot it. He did get a little
unlucky with the safety car, and there was a couple other things, but really, I do think he did it to himself. He was really, if you watched him, he was really trying to outmaneuver the car. There were a couple laps there where you're like, okay, you're going to crash it.
Right.
And then I think they kind of told him, like GP kind of told him, chill out. And I think he just brought it home.
We do have to talk about, though, I mean, Alex with Williams, impressive performance. I mean, he finished 5th. That's absolutely amazing. Yeah, he did have an impressive performance for Williams. I mean, most impressive of the season so far.
It's just crazy what the Williams is doing. It's really wild to watch.
I agree. I think that what Carlos and Alex have together is almost similar chemistry to what Charles and Carlos had at Ferrari. And I really think they're playing into it. I love it. I think that they need to continue with it. I think they have a really, really, really good shot. I mean, what are they in the Constructor Series right now?
And at one point, they were beating Ferrari. So it's just crazy.
Right. So we have McLaren, Mercedes, Red Bull, Ferrari, Williams, Haas. It has to be spoken of because for you and I, it was huge for us because obviously, you've brought me into the Ferrari world. I'm slowly migrating over to Mercedes, but we won't talk about that yet.
I get it.
Hey, I love Kimi.
No, I get it. No, I knew that was going to happen. I told you because I started watching. I didn't think it was going to be Charles, and I don't know why, but it just is.
I do love Charles though, as an overall. But that's what the interesting thing, like you talked about in the beginning episode when we first talked about F1, is that you can like root for multiple drivers.
You 100% can. I really do enjoy that.
I mean? You just kind of have to have. You almost have to have a handful of drivers you like, but you have to have one you dislike. You have to have one driver you do not like.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me ask you, who's that driver, that one driver you don't like?
I mean, I would say there's several, but I would say the most annoying, I would say, is Lance. Like, who would I want off the grid? Lance. What about you?
Lance.
It's crazy. Well, yeah, because daddy's money is paying for things. And it's like, I get it. But at a certain point, I don't even think he wants to be there at
I don't
all.
even know why he's there.
He doesn't seem happy. Where I feel like every other driver on the grid they live for it. Even Lewis, like all of them live for it. They're dying to be there. And it's just so frustrating to watch him.
You have 20 of the best drivers in the world, and even daddy's money can put you on that grid. Like,
if it's that big of money. Like, look, I do think that Lance has talent, right? Like, I mean, I don't think he would have gotten to where he is with some talent. But like, do I think should be on the grid anymore? No.
I wanted to talk about how Ferrari could have had the chance to chase down Kimi and Alex if they hadn't have done this driver swap. So initially, I was for the driver swap because I was like, yeah, Lewis is up, Lewis has the pace, let him go.
No, actually, I think you might have been right. I don't know. I was hot in the moment. I really was hot in the moment.
I know you love Charles, but I felt like
honestly,
in that moment,
it's a Ferrari problem. It's not even.
It really is.
And I was thinking it was a Lewis thing, but really, Lewis wasn't wrong. But it's like at a certain point, it's just not going to happen. So like, why are we spending so much time arguing about it? Like after a certain point, I feel like Lewis should have been like, well, it's too late now. Right. And like, because that's exactly when Charles's tires warmed up. So it's like, what a waste. What a waste.
They were 4 laps too late on letting Charles go back in swapping. Letting Lewis go ahead and letting Charles get that clean air, great. But you were 4 laps too late on letting Lewis. Charles could have gone ahead and easily chased Kimi down. I mean, Charles has the experience over Kimi. And
that's why I was annoyed. That's why I was annoyed, because it was just like, okay, Lewis, you've been heard. But like at this point, it's over. And it's like, and if you can't get it done, I want to switch back right away. Like, let's not. It just hindered both of their races at that point, and I feel like it was just such a dumb thing.
So I mean, yes, Lewis had the chance. Lewis missed the chance, and he should have 4 laps sooner. Should have said, "Hey guys, let's flip this back. I think that Charles may have the better pace now." But I don't know if that's ego. I don't know if that's engineering, and I don't know if that's Ferrari. But I really think that they were 4 laps too late.
It's always been a Ferrari problem. Carlos and Charles used to duke it out all the time, which is fun because I feel like they did do that. I love watching Carlos and Charles race. It's terrifying, but they know each other so well. That comes from 4 years of being crazy teammates together. But like watching them fight is really fun to me. But watching Lewis and Charles, like there's still like this weird dynamic between the two of them. And I think what it really comes down to, and I think Carlos is struggling with this too, is I think they're expecting to know the car right away, right? And I'm like, look, Alex has been in that car for so long. Charles has been in the Ferrari for forever, okay? So why? I think for you to think that you are going to be at that same level after 5 races is wild to me. And I just don't get it. So it is what it is.
It's comparable to Max. I mean, Max's car, obviously, he's struggling in it, but he still has the defensive skills to drive his Red Bull. But yet Lewis is still, yes, a 7-time world champion. He still has all of these accolades, but he's not in a Mercedes anymore, which clearly is faster than a Ferrari right now. So he's got to lower his expectations, and he's got to learn the car. You have to learn the car.
There's a thing about Lewis, and I know, look, I like Lewis. I really do. I think he's incredible talent. I think he can be a crybaby. And I would say the same thing about Max. That's probably what makes them champions, right? But at a certain point, I'm like, okay, you've been heard. I don't want to hear it anymore. Right. It's just like, it's just very boring. Like, I'm just like, at a certain point, enough, But I do think that I do like that he's pushing back with Ferrari because I feel like Charles has held back a lot. I do see him being more assertive now. Like he's very over the strategies, and you can see that in him. Where I feel like he used to just let them do their thing, but I do think that Charles is like, no, we're not going to do that strategy anymore.
I think that a lot of the teams need to really dive into, yes, they do have a 1-2 driver, and they need to stop saying they don't, because when you don't acknowledge things like that and you say, okay, well, you know, Charles, you're not our you're our number one, and Lewis, sorry, but you're our number two right now. I think that really hinders their ability to know where they are in the grid.
Yeah.
I think that Toto does a great job at making George and Kimi know. Obviously, Kimi's a rookie, so he's going to have that huge gap.
Yeah.
But Toto makes it very well known that George is the lead driver for Mercedes.
Toto's learned from experience. They didn't pick a driver, and it was Nico and Lewis against each other all season. And it was wild. And I feel like that's why Toto handles things the way that he does now. And it's actually how he's handled things for a while. Like Lewis has always been number one. And then, you had Valtteri, and like it was a great dynamic, but you could see though, and it is kind of hard to watch because it does feel like that second driver is like a sacrificial lamb almost.
Yeah.
But it is kind of hard. And it's like and that makes me wonder, I don't know what'll happen at McLaren because I don't really know who number one should be. I really don't. Like, I don't know who I would pick as number one if I were.
I don't either.
The McLaren.
Actually, I do. I have an opinion on this. I would pick Lando as my number one. I feel that even though Oscar has more wins and he has done more on the series, I feel that Lando has
experience,
the long range potential. I feel like Oscar is like a short, quick little firecracker that's just popping off for us right now, and he's slowly going to fade off the scene shortly. Now, those words could come back to bite me in the ass, but he is leading the series with 131 points, but there's a lot that can happen. I mean, Max last year was doing the same thing.
Yeah.
He came out
100%.
Dominating, and then that gap slowly started to fade as the season came to an end, and there was an actual race for it. I do wish though that they would be more acknowledging, and yes, this is my number one driver, and yes, this is my number two driver. I think that it would give the drivers it would give them more of an understanding of the expectation of where they are on the team and what they have to work for or what they have to maintain. I think that leads us into a good dynamics where we can talk about how Jack Doohan's being replaced by Franco.
Yes.
I think that it's interesting after 6 races. Some people were like, oh, we should have waited till summer break. Let's give Jack a chance. I'm sorry, but we're in F1, the top of the top. If you haven't put up some numbers in 5 races, then you're going back to where you came from.
Yeah, it's like this in all sports, right? It's like, how long do you let the rookie be the rookie? I don't know. I don't know. I don't really know what the right answer is.
When you hit rock bottom, you have nowhere else to go but up. Okay? Jack is doing nothing but crashing.
Yeah. And the car's not that bad because clearly Pierre's doing okay.
Pierre's handling it somewhat well.
Yeah. He's qualifying well and he's doing well.
He's holding his own. That also makes me wonder, how much mentorship did Pierre have over Jack, if he had any at all? Do you know what I'm saying?
I think that Pierre coming through the Red Bull family the way that he did, Red Bull did Pierre very dirty. So I think that, in his mind, he's used to that kind of dynamic. I do think that the Alpine dynamic is toxic, though, in general. I think it's very similar to Red Bull. And I think that,
I think they run their race teams the same. I think that
I think it's very similar.
Looking at Alpine and Red Bull, I think the turmoil inside the teams is intense. It's very intense.
And watching Flavio, I don't think there's many F1 fans that have any love for him, which is so crazy. I've only been in the sport or watching it for a shorter amount of time, but I feel like I could sense the animosity towards this man. And it's just wild that F1 has let him back into the community. And for like us, it's like, oh, well, I don't really understand the history, but it is kind of wild that he's back in F1 after blatantly cheating, but I mean, you could say the same thing about Bill Belichick and the Patriots, right? So I don't know, but it does sound like his was way more shady and way more illegal. So I don't know, but I just don't know why the FIA is very corrupt at this point, and there needs to be a lot of changes at the FIA, which we've discussed.
Carlos Sr. is looking to run for FIA
Carlos
president,
Sr.
rumored, and then we have Susie, who's also rumored to be running as well.
100%, and I love
either one would be a great choice, but I really think that putting a female in charge of this sport would just take it to the next level. I mean,
someone needs to tell these men to get it together. I love that he has a woman engineer, and it's so exciting, and it's such a great dynamic that I hope that it gets duplicated. And I mean, I feel like at this point, Lewis is probably thinking the same thing. Lewis was probably like, give me a woman engineer because something needs to happen.
I find it so fascinating. I find it so thrilling. I find it engaging. I mean, the fact that he believes so much in women in itself, I think that it's possible that maybe next year he could have a female engineer. I think that he could make a switch.
Well, I think Lewis is definitely going to be making changes, or he's going to be real over this whole Ferrari life very soon. Honestly.
Yeah, I don't think that he will not. He's going to have to either figure out and adapt to Ferrari, or Ferrari's going to have to make some changes for Lewis.
I honestly hope that they are listening because they need help.
They need it.
Hope that they're listening. I love Fred, but I'm like, Fred, what are we doing?
I know.
It's really hard when you hear Fred do an interview afterwards and he's like, I think we made the right call. I'm like, absolutely not. And I mean, maybe you don't want to publicly admit that. That's one thing. But there's no way we're coming away from that being like, that was the right strategy. Because I do think that Charles could have caught Kimi. Like, I do 100%. I think they both could have caught Kimi if they had done it the right way.
4 laps sooner, this race would have been an entirely different race.
They were clearly faster than the Williams. They just weren't playing the right strategy. But I mean, I know that Charles can get on that podium even with that tractor of a Ferrari. So it's just very frustrating to watch them completely jumble of strategy over and over and over again. It's just it's the most frustrating thing to watch.
It's like Groundhog's Day over and over and over again.
Over and over again.
Open up your eyeballs. I get if it's not broke, don't fix it, but it's clearly broken, so fix it.
They can't figure it out.
I mean, talking about Lewis's transition too, you've got to think, I wonder what his mindset is now going from a 7-time world champion in a Mercedes to now being at the most, I mean, everybody, in my opinion, the goal as an F1 driver is to drive a Ferrari. I mean, I don't care if McLaren's faster.
Everyone's a Ferrari
Everyone wants to drive a Ferrari. So now that he's there and he's a 7-time world champion, he has put up no podium finishes of the first races. I mean, I'm not sure what his outlook looks like for the rest of the season if we haven't even gotten close.
And there's glimpses of Lewis where I'm like, you could definitely see that he's happy. Like, he's even doing way more press than he's ever done. Like, like, he's happy.
Way more.
But I don't know. I think you're very right. I think that I don't know how long this lasts because you got to remember Lewis is 40.
If he can't get that 8th championship?
I mean, he's in the best shape. He could pull a Fernando and just keep going. But how long do you give Ferrari to figure it out is really what it comes down to. Last year, it was like they started strong, tapered off, and then came back strong. It's a very weird dynamic. I don't know. I don't understand it. I hope that they figure it out. I have faith in Fred, but I don't know how far that faith goes. And I don't know if they're just like, this car doesn't work and we need to just focus on 2026 because at the end of the day, I don't think anyone's getting close to McLaren. So do you just sacrifice this season and focus on the new regulations? Which is like, I think that's where I would go because you can't afford
everything
you can't afford to fuck up 2026. That's way more important than this season because I just don't think anyone's going to catch up to the McLaren. It's just one regulation change that can really, if you don't get it right, you don't get it right.
Let's talk about a peak in the pit of Miami. We'll add the sprint. So what was your peak and your pit?
The fucking Lego cars. I love them so much. I want them at every race. I would rather watch them race the Lego cars at this point than watch the McLarens win another race. I am so obsessed with the Lego cars.
Hands down.
Like, I cannot get enough of that content. I want that content on a loop. I want to watch every single camera feed that was on those cars over and over and over again. It's incredible.
I think my peak of the weekend, I have to be honest, my peak was Kimi. I mean,
yeah,
Kimi putting up that position, like, it was incredible. It was so exciting to watch. It was so thrilling and so, like, it almost brought so much life into Mercedes and so much life into him to see him do so well. So now tell me, what was your pick?
All of Ferrari. But I mean, I guess I would just say the final laps of that Miami race, watching Ferrari fight Ferrari.
Yeah.
It's just so frustrating because you're just wanting them to do well. Did I think they were going to get on the podium? No. But it's even more frustrating that we're pitting the drivers against each other now too, instead of just focusing on the best strategy for Ferrari. And they just cannot figure it out.
I think the pit for me was Max's mistake.
Yeah.
He gave up this opportunity and let the McLaren's go, and then he never really had a fighting chance back from that. That was a pit for me. I really wanted to see him like get in there and like either go and run with it or fight off the McLaren's, not for second, third, or fourth, but actually fight them off for the podium top spot.
Yeah.
So some other little rumors and drama right now. There's a lot going on. So first, I mean, we have to congratulate Max. He became a dad.
Yes. I know.
Little Lily Verstappen.
He got to miss media day. He's the happiest he's ever been.
That was the best. He loved that. He didn't have to say anything.
He's like, obviously I'm a dad now. I don't have time for me.
Yeah. It'll be interesting to see if it changes, if that little lockup that he had in turn one was a Lily lockup, or if he put the dad brain behind him and, push things up.
Just so congratulations
to him. Now, still on the Max topic, Franz? Is Franz the Ferrari driver? What are we doing an incognito test session with a Ferrari under a pseudonym, Franz?
He does what are we doing? Ferrari. I mean, listen, I think there's a big possibility that Max takes next year off. And it's just like, because, he's got that big clause in the non-compete. And if he places behind P3, then he can leave Red Bull. And I think that if he's not happy by the end of the year, you have to remember, like, Adrian Newey was a big part of Red Bull. And Adrian Newey moving to Aston Martin next year, I think really is going to shake a lot of things up. And I don't know if Max is really excited about Helmut and Christian and that whole dynamic anymore. Listen, I think he's always going to be doing some kind of racing. It might even be sim racing. He loves sim racing. I could see him totally taking off 2026, seeing what team figures it out and then trying to get in there. Because Max, has said I don't think Max wants the Fernando and Lewis lifestyle. I think he very much wants to be a family man because I don't think he had that yet. I think he wants to have a different childhood for his children.
I mean, he wouldn't come back to Red Bull. He'll come back, but it would be interesting to see if he came back to like Cadillac, or if he would come back to Aston Martin, or if there would be a spot at Mercedes, or if there would be a spot at McLaren.
You can't ever count out Max Verstappen.
We saw Oscar, how he got caught up in lap traffic at the very end. He struggled. Like, he doesn't do well outside of clean air. So it's not to say that if he doesn't do well in qualifying in one of the races, that he may very well could fall back. Like, I mean, I know his car is fast, but
I've watched Ferrari fumble it so many times that I wouldn't be surprised. It's very hard to strategically be successful over 24 races. So, I mean, anything could happen, and that's why it's fun to watch.
Well, and you would have a fast car all day long, but you have to have a driver that knows how to drive that fast car consistently for 24 races. Although McLaren does have it right now, I don't see them sustaining it for the entire season.
Yeah. Who knows? They're very fast right now. It's scary. It's starting to scare me a little bit more. I feel like it was a lot closer at different tracks, and I feel like Miami was definitely kind of wild to watch how much faster they are now. It feels like they're so far ahead.
I think Miami made people realize how much further ahead they are and brought more attention. I think that that will be definitely more discussion. I mean, they've already been talking about how fast the McLarens are from day one, but I think that now things are going to be a little bit more investigative. Like, why are the McLarens so much faster? What are they doing that's making them so much faster?
Well, and actually, I think it's working in their benefit that they figured out these regulations, because everyone else wants to focus on 2026. And it's like, if they're not close, I think that a lot of teams are going to be like, we're not even close. And it's like at summer break, if they're not close enough, they might just pull back all their resources and dump it into 2026. I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to watch.
Like 2026 is going to bring out the real racers. It's going to bring out the real riders. It's going to show you which cars are actually quick and which aren't, and who was really messing around in the 2025 season and who was actually paying attention for 2026.
Well, you got to know that Mercedes successfully did that for 2 regulations. So I don't know. I mean, and Red Bull, they didn't win 2021, but Max won, and then they were very successful in 2022. I mean, I honestly am very excited to watch that live because I haven't watched it yet. So I think it's going to be fun to watch. But yeah, who knows? I mean, and then the reports that you're hearing that Mercedes is saying that the engine's dying in the middle of Monza, that's crazy. So I mean, it's going to be very interesting. It seems like Mercedes is figuring things out quicker, but who really knows?
Yeah, I agree. It's going to be, I think the next couple of races are going to be very, very interesting. I know that we have May 18th is our next race coming up. We have Imola. Italy. Imola. What do you think about that circuit? Because you've watched that circuit. How do you think teams might approach, what they've got coming, especially, almost into summer break?
Imola is interesting because there's been so many reports that it's not sustainable to have 2 races in Italy, that Monza's the better track.
Yep.
Imola does have a lot of history. I'm not like, it doesn't really make or break anything for me.
It wasn't a standout for me either on the archive.
I mean, it's fun. I think that Italian fans are always fun to watch. Italy is just so passionate about their Ferrari, and there's a lot of Ferrari fans, don't get me wrong, but Imola is just it's very historical. People like the historic tracks, but I don't know. I don't see it staying on the calendar. If they have to choose, it's Monza's the superior Italy track for sure.
Give me your podium predictions for Imola.
Podium? I think probably, Lando, Oscar, probably Max, somewhere in there. What about you?
I'm going to, obviously the McLarens are in there. I'm going to shake it up though, and I'm going to say that Charles pulls through this weekend for us, and I think that we're going to get a Lando.
It would have to rain.
Yeah, I think we're going to get Lando, Charles. I'm going to go Lando, Charles, right. George. With Oscar in 4th, if not Kimi.
I love it.
I can't.
Maybe Lando and Oscar crash. I kind of would love that too.
That would be dynamic.
At some point, I do think that's going to happen.
Well, it has to.
It's going to happen. It's going to happen at some point.
One of them has to do their dominance. Someone has to do it.
I think we're a couple races out from that. Probably closer to summer break, that might happen.
Yeah, I agree. So right now, going into Imola, we have Oscar with the lead driver championship with 131 points, Lando sitting at 115, Max at 99, and George not far behind with 93. Charles in 5th at 53, so quite a big gap. The McLarens are leading the Constructor Series, Mercedes in 2nd with Red Bull in 3rd. Things could shake up. Things could get dynamic. I mean, I know that the McLarens had a 1-2 finish, but I don't know if it's sustainable for the entire season, like you said. So it'll be fun to watch. We'll have to see. So, and
I think this is going to be a fun trip. I think we're going to find out a lot with this triple header. There's doing a lot of triple headers this year. They didn't used to do that. It used to be 2 and then a break.
Yeah, I've noticed that on the schedule we go 1-2, 1-2-3, 1-2, 1-2-3. A lot of triple headers in there. A lot of triple headers at the end. A lot of triple headers. So
which I think is fun to watch. It's fun to watch for sure.
I agree. I think that it gives them to see how well they can sustain 3 races.
It's also fun to see them back in Europe. I feel like that's just an interesting dynamic to watch in general. I think they're excited for a European stretch because they haven't been in Europe, so
Right.
it's just going to be nice for them to be able to go home during the week and then fly during
That's a
the
good
weekend.
point. Yeah. I think
I mean,
it'll be
it's got
more
to get tough.
it's gotta be relaxing too, to be able to sleep in their own bed for once too.
It's going to be brutal for us because these are early wake-up calls.
I think next weekend we have practice starts at 3:45 in the morning for us, and then 7 a.m. for practice too. So, yeah, the race on Sunday starts at 6 a.m. for us. So, yeah,
it's so
it'll
fun.
It'll be an early morning with a nice afternoon nap.
It's gonna be really hard to top Charles winning Monaco. That was everything.
I know that I've still watched that race. It's iconic.
That was amazing. That's iconic. If he could get away with another one of those, that could make up for the entire season. Just seeing Charles win in Monaco is like watching the Prince of Monaco just descend upon his country. They love him so much. He literally he takes his little bicycle to the track every day. It's the cutest thing you'll ever see. I can't wait for you to experience it live. He's just an adorable human. Everyone is like basically chasing him down on the streets of Monaco, and he's just like, hi.
And just like that, the checkered flag drops on another flaming hot lap of fast-paced lace. Whether you're Team McLaren sipping Verstappen tears or side-eyeing Ferrari's 43rd bad strategy call, this Miami weekend gave us all the fuel we needed. Jaclyn's jabs will be back, the rumors will swirl louder, and F1 drama, it never lifts. So stay tapped in. Make sure you subscribe, screenshot your favorite quote from today's episode, and tag us at FastPacedLace on Instagram and all your favorite platforms. Because if we're going to talk our talk, we want you in the pit crew. Until next time, keep it fast, keep it fierce, and keep it late.